everybody, it's Pinion. Today I'm doing a speed paint with a voiceover. I've found, in my own personal experience, that speed paints are much more engaging when they have a voiceover or something to listen to. I don't know if that's how it is for everyone, but yeah. I've got some stuff I wanted to talk about that's either art related or just storytime stuff anyways, so expect more speed paints with voiceovers in the future. Although I think I say that every time I do a voiceover. But got a system now, so hopefully it'll be more consistent, or at least more relevant. Anyway, today I'm talking about sort of possibly a controversial subject. It's about how you go about learning to do art. Now, in this video, I will be referring to art lessons, and what I mean by that, by drawing lessons, is someone telling you how to draw something. It can be anything, but it's in a specific style, and they're like detailed about it. Even realism is a style, so if someone's showing you specifically how to realistically draw a deer, easy drawing lessons, and it's not going to help you develop your style much unless you look at it more as a guide instead of an actual one-to-one lesson. So when I was a kid or whatever, I was doing a lot of drawing lessons about how to draw animals specifically, and I don't remember it teaching me really anything except for how to make this one picture of a cat. So I ended up having one art piece of a cat in a specific style, and then I would go on to the next one. And I didn't help me make any of my own artwork at all. The one thing I did learn though was how to make cat ears look two-dimensional. But I think that was more of my own studying of the art. I'm like, why does that cat ear look so two-dimensional? And then I realized it's because there's that line there, and then I started implementing it to my other cats. So yeah, I never really learned how to draw anything besides cats, so when I started branching out to draw other animals, I kept the same feline anatomy and basically only changed the ears, which was not great. I mean, you can do that if you want, if it's in your style and you can draw other animals and you choose to draw them that way, that's perfectly fine. So I don't recommend using drawing lessons like that. It's kind of like it's sort of like baking, where you follow a recipe and then you end up with chocolate cupcakes. But if you wanted to learn how to make other kinds of cakes, you'd either have to learn how to bake without a recipe or just follow other recipes. So if you eventually wanted to make your own recipe, aka make your own individual artwork with your own style, you would need to learn how to bake without a recipe. So in today's video, I'll kind of just be talking about how I recommend learning how to do art without using art lessons. And before that, I want to go into how art style plays a role in it, because art style is basically the point, isn't it? Even full realism is an art style, and from that there's anything from there to completely cartooned, exaggerated proportions. Okay, in my opinion, art style is based off of two factors. One is what's easiest to draw for you, what makes things easier, what just clicks in your head best, and another thing is just what you like stylistically. So you're obviously going to gravitate towards drawing art styles you like. So what I recommend doing is studying the art styles you like, finding out why you like them, and then trying to implement them into your art. Not copying exactly, and I would take multiple styles for reference, and then just going from there. It's totally fine to experiment. I've done like multiple drawings over and over again, experimenting with different eye styles specifically, and ways to draw paws and things like that. So you just experiment, and you don't have to find a solid art style and stick to it and just always use that one art style. That's not really the point of an art style. What I do recommend using guides for is anatomy. Proportions are something mostly based off your art style. But anatomy, which is different, is basically how the thing is built. And anatomy studies can be very useful unless you want your creatures looking super duper weird. It'll also help keep them consistent, whichever art style you choose. Knowing how the anatomy for that style specifically works will help it be more consistent. So what I recommend, mostly learning from my own personal mistakes, this learning style might not work for everyone. Most learning styles aren't universal. I mean, actually, I don't think any are. Do what works for you, but what I recommend doing is almost setting up an inspiration board. Find things you like and styles you like and learn from them. Maybe if they have sort of tutorials you could watch, but watch tutorials from multiple people and implement multiple different methods. I also would recommend going for variety when you're just learning to do art. Don't draw one thing too often or only learn how to do one thing, because then, like I said earlier, you'll end up drawing rabbits as cats with bunny ears. Whereas rabbits have totally different anatomies. I went through a whole learning thing when I joined War for the Warren, learning how to draw rabbits without cat anatomy. I wanted them to look more like bunnies, which was actually really fun to do. It's always a really fun challenge whenever you try to draw something you don't normally do that's not too different from what you normally do. So say you only ever draw bunny animals, it might be really hard to try and draw a human, not a fun challenge as trying to draw a different species is. Anyway, that's not the point. Drawing lessons can be really helpful because it shows you the process of how the art was made, but I wouldn't use it as a lesson. I would use it more as a guide. Like, see how their sketch looks and apply that sort of tactics to yours, or look at how they made their line art dynamic and do something similar with your own art. I wouldn't recommend using drawing lessons as actual lessons. And I definitely wouldn't recommend only pulling from one source. You need to, when you're learning, you need to use a lot of different sources. Now, finding your style is something a bit different from simply learning how to draw, but that could be a whole nother thing. And if you want to go straight into, if you already know what kind of you want your style to look like whether you want it to be cartoony or semi-realism or something like that, I recommend learning from that style specifically. Well, that's it for today's video. I'm not sure if any of what I said really would make any sense to someone who isn't me, but the gist of it is don't use art lessons as lessons, use them as a guide and pull from what inspires you stylistically. Well, everybody, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully it will be a less complicated topic for me to talk about. Hopefully it will be more easier for me to articulate. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.